Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to yet another LinkedIn Live session with us here at Descara. My name is Thomas Cole. I'm your host. We got our co-host Taylor Otto. Taylor, why don't you tell the viewers about yourself and why they should listen in today?
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Taylor Otto. I'm an implementation consultant here at Descara. Super excited to be back for another weekly webinar where we discuss various tools that Descara offers. And this week we're going to be having a conversation on make to stock versus made to order. What are some of the benefits and drawbacks of both, and why it's important to have a system that can handle both.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. Interesting finding for the week. Research shows that a made to order is gaining more traction within manufacturers because it allows consumers to purchase products customized to their specifications. Now, Taylor, this kind of leads us into that next point of what is made to order and why are we seeing this trend moving towards that?
Yeah, so made to order is a manufacturing process where products are produced based on a specific customer's order. So an order comes in, and then at that point, you start building out that product. And this could be for a variation of reasons. I think the trend that's causing this make to order to gain traction is because of the ability to customize orders and fulfill specific customer needs based on orders that come in.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Thank you. So when I think of that, I think of more of a pull system where products from a customer's purchase are pulled for manufacturing. So an example could be a furniture store making a special piece of furniture or a prototype.
Yep, absolutely.
Indeed. So moving on to the pros, for made to order, a pro could potentially be, you're reducing waste and you're ramping up efficiency. So because no production takes place prior to actually receiving a customer order, the company can actually the manufacturer can solely focus on creating products as quickly as possible. So you're not overstocking, you're not understocking your inventory, you're minimizing the sort of waste and making sure that your resources are only used to improve the products in ways that help your consumers.
Yeah, absolutely. You only, in a sense, you only have materials and goods that you are utilizing for a specific order. You don't have to hold on to anything or have waste or even hold the risk of wasting your materials that you need. Absolutely. Another pro, and again, kind of what we talked about, what is kind of shifting that trend is the ability to customize products and fulfill specific needs that certain customers have. Maybe they've got a unique aspect to a product that you sell that you can't always prepare for, and having the ability to receive that order in and then at that point begin, okay, I'm going to put all my energy into fulfilling that order, creating that unique product and getting that to the client.
Indeed. I just realized that it says pros and cons of MTS. It should say MTO, so my bad on that. So moving on to the cons swiftly. In terms of the con for a made to order, when I think of this, I think of, increased complexity and higher costs. And, made to order typically adds complexity to the production process because each product has to be created or built from scratch. This often requires additional resources and labor. And obviously, the more labor needed to customize the product, the higher the cost could potentially be. Or if you need to send it out to a contract manufacturing, you're going to have to increase the cost because you have to cover that cost from sending it over that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And, another con is you can't always predict the sales demands. If you get a ton of custom orders in at once, obviously we know that businesses can ebb and flow, and a surge in demand could be quite stressful, where you go from not having any orders in or not many to all of a sudden you've got a ton and you need all hands on deck. And now all of a sudden I got to scramble to make sure I've got employees that are scheduled. I got to get out these purchase orders to start making these products. And when you need something at a short term, you end up paying that premium to get that product in at a quicker pace. And, obviously you add in longer lead times, it leads to a delay in getting that product out to your customer.
Indeed.
Yeah. So as we transition, taking a look in Descara, kind of how we handle custom orders. We actually did a webinar on this. So if you haven't had a chance to check it out, take a look at our Ad Hoc BOM webinar, where we go into a little bit deeper of what Ad Hoc is, how we use that tool to customize orders that we receive from customers. But I'm just going to kind of give you an overview here. We have the ability to have custom orders and place these custom needs and specific needs at our work order level, so our warehouse workers and the people that are manufacturing the products know what to do.
Yeah.
So for example, I'm going to use a chair that we do. And let's say we get an order for a chair that we make, but they have some customizations. Maybe they want to make it a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
We can add the products needed. We can say, hey, maybe we usually only use this much wood, but now we're going to use even more to create this product. Or maybe they don't want a seat cushion. We have the ability to get rid of that and or add a material if we need, and completely customize what is going into this chair. We don't have to change the SKU, but those specific needs that we get from a sales order from a client or a customer can be met. And then we have that information. We can place purchase orders based on the raw materials that we need and begin work on that custom order.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. Leads us to the next point, right? Which is the made to stock. It's the other side of the manufacturing process. Taylor, how would we explain what made to stock is to someone who doesn't know?
Yeah, so make to stock is kind of like the opposite, right? So making products ahead of time, making sure that you have products in your inventory to fulfill orders. Typically, this is for a sales channel. If you have a bunch of products that sell out quite frequently, or you sell repeats, or maybe you're not customizing products, but it's more of like a shirt, for example, or any type of clothing, or anything at all that you sell multiple of, food, anything really, and making sure that you have enough inventory ahead of time to fulfill those orders. Typically, that means that customers are getting their orders a little bit quicker. And we'll kind of talk about those benefits in a second here. But basically, just having product on hand, having your inventory full to fulfill orders.
Yeah. So that kind of relates to a push system, right? Where products are being produced in anticipation of expected sales. So like you said, clothing manufacturers or retailers, that's what would fit that example. Is that correct?
That's correct. Absolutely.
Okay, perfect. So it kind of leads us into the next point of what is a pro of made to stock. Now, from the research I've done, a pro could be reduced customer wait times, right? So getting things done on time typically means that your products will be ready for your customers promptly. So this reduces the wait time significantly, because once the orders have been placed, they can be sent straight to the customers as soon as possible, compared to a made to order where the order has been placed and now the organization or the manufacturer has to build that product.
Yeah, and I think that's a huge pro of made to stock, is being able to fulfill those orders as quickly as possible. Obviously, when a customer places an order and they get that product on their doorstep the next day or a few days, it leaves them feeling pretty good and pretty happy and more likely to order again from you. Whereas if it takes a little bit longer and it's maybe not expected, you could maybe turn them away and they may find a different store to shop at. Another pro, being able to anticipate needs, using scheduling tools, forecasting tools to plan and make sure that you have just enough inventory in place to fulfill anticipated orders. Obviously you can't predict everything, but having a tool to at least make sure you're prepared, make sure you have enough inventory to fulfill orders that, and at least use a tool that can help find those right numbers and the right stock to keep. So you're not overstocking or understocking, but you have that right amount. We'll show that a little bit later. But again, being able to produce gives you more time to find cheaper vendors where you're getting materials from, maybe pay a little bit less when you don't need to scramble and get it last minute. All pros of helping your business.
Indeed. And you kind of touched on this briefly, but kind of leads us into a con of made to stock. Now, with that, you can't, as you rightly said, you can't always predict consumer trends, right? External factors could play a role in this. For example, the economy, if you can't predict what's going to happen, it's going to be very hard for you to predict your future sales, which could then lead to waste. You're overstocking on certain materials or products that you thought were going to sell out a lot quicker.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can forecast and you can use past trends to anticipate and have a really solid understanding of what to expect in regards to consumer needs, but you can't always predict everything. Think of COVID, for example, where nobody saw that coming and a lot of businesses suffered because they couldn't plan for that. And, it did lead to a lot of waste where businesses had to kind of eat some inventory because they just weren't selling based on just what was going on in the world around us. Another con is less flexibility. It gives us, in terms of being able to meet custom needs for customers, it gives us, hey, we've already got this product on hand. You kind of we can sell this, but it doesn't give us that flexibility to meet custom needs where make to order would.
Yeah, indeed. So it kind of takes us to that next question of why is it important for manufacturers to actually have a system or a software that can offer both made to stock and made to order?
Yeah, and before we do that, I do want to touch back on the forecasting tool. If you haven't had a chance to take a look at our webinar, we also have done a webinar on this as well, where we talk about forecasting. We talk about just the unique custom options that Descara offers for forecasting. So if you haven't had a chance to look at that, please watch that forecast. But this is just a tool that we use for make to stock, where we can use this forecasting tool, anticipate needs of what we're going to sell, and then what raw materials to make those products do we need because of that. So, for example, here I've got a chair, using this example a lot lately. All the raw materials that go into creating this chair, and I can fulfill, hey, I anticipate getting 50 this month, 140 the next month, and then it does the math for me. It tells me what I need to do or what raw materials I need to create that product. I have an easy link to create a purchase order from this product, get those raw materials in place, and make sure that I am in a good spot where I can plan ahead, make sure that I'm fulfilling orders as quickly as possible. And one big point that I do want to touch on that we did touch on in the last forecasting webinar is Descara customizes forecasting tools for your business, because we know that businesses don't forecast the same. Every business looks at forecasting a little bit differently. And that's one of the benefits of Descara is we can customize that for you and meet you where you're at with your specific needs as well.
Indeed. Thanks for showing us that. So I kind of jumped the gun on the last question, but I'll ask you again. Taylor, why is it important for manufacturers to have a system that offers both made to stock and made to order?
Yeah, and I think this is kind of a big focus point of why we wanted to have this webinar today, is because it is crucial to have a software or a system where you can do both make to order and make to stock. If you have a system, or maybe you need to rely on two systems or one system, and then you're using a spreadsheet to kind of keep track of inventory and reconcile what's being used, it could be very difficult to keep track of your inventory and know what's going on your shop floor. Our software, Descara, gives you the benefit of you can do make to order, you can do make to stock, and you can have all of the inventory tracking. You can look into your manufacturing floor. You can see everything that's going on around you, whether you're doing make to order, whether you're doing make to stock. We, currently we have a client that does both, actually, where they have finished goods that are make to order, but they like to have the sub-assemblies that go into that finished good on hand, because it's, maybe it's a common product that's used in that finished good. So they utilize our system to make sure that they have those whips in stock. They have enough. They use the forecasting tools to ensure that they're planning efficiently. They're not carrying too much of the sub-assembly. And then when they do get that custom order, they still have that flexibility to utilize some of the inventory they have and then make those custom changes as well.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much for explaining that. As we wrap up, just wanted to say a big thanks for, everyone who's been able to make it to the webinar today. If you're interested in learning more about, made to stock versus made to order, you can either reach out to us on LinkedIn, myself and Taylor, or you can email us at thomas.cole@descara.com or taylor.auto@descara.com. Alternatively, feel free to reach out to us at sales@descara.us. Taylor, any final words you would like to say?
Yeah, just to echo what Thomas said, we would love to have a conversation with you about how Descara can help your business. If you looked at anything today in our webinar that maybe we didn't discuss directly and you want to learn more about, please reach out. We'd love to have that conversation with you. If you haven't had a chance, take a look at our previous webinars on the ad hoc BOM, on the forecasting, just to learn a little bit more about what we touched on today. But we'd love to hear from you.
Awesome. Thank you again for joining, and we look forward to seeing you next week. We'll be going through a full demo of the Descara platform.
Thanks, everyone. Take care.